In this problem, we're going to write a class that we will call tree. And you see on the slide the characteristics that we want this class to have. Now notice that the class tree does not directly have to do with arrays. However, we will be using this in a different problem in relation to arrays. So we want to construct tree so that we use it later, and actually we will be referring to this tree class in many other problems in different lectures in the future. So what do we want the tree class to look like? We want to have a few fields, 3 variables, a constructor, and a specific method. Let's take a look at the member variables. We want to have a circumference, a serial number, and then the species of the tree. Now inside the constructor, we want to initialize those fields and pay attention to the order in which we have the parameters, not because the order itself matters for any particular meaning of the tree, but because when we are creating the trees, we should first give the serial number, then the circumference, and then the species, because the constructor takes them in this order. Finally, the most interesting probably part to write here will be the method, the describe method. We want the describe method to return a string which will describe these particular 3 objects that we have created. Go and take a look at the format method of the string class. It is very similar to the way that printf works, and you see an example of how to call it, how to use it in this particular slide. We have written the tree class exactly as we were told. It has 3 members, the serial number, the circumference, and the species. Although we have written the serial number before the circumference, we have declared it before, we need to make sure that we have in the constructor the variables in the order that we were given at the problem description. So first serial, the parameter that will initialize the serial number, then the circumference, then the species. Nothing in the constructor body should be surprising to you. We have been using the this dot style many previous times. The describe method is returning a string, as we said, and it uses the format method of the string class to do so. So here, notice that the format method, and you can look up the API in the string class, returns a string. So we have called string.format twice, and we are concatenating the 2 strings that the format method will return. So nothing really complicated. We have with the first format, we are returning the string that says the tree number with this serial number has a circumference, and then the second string.format will return of this particular circumference. It is a double number, that's why we have f, and is of this particular species. Species is a string, that's why we're using s. Serial is an int, that's why we used d. Now remember that 0.2, it just means that it will only print the 2 decimal digits after the point for this particular double number.